Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Inside Out Show. This is your host, Leonard McDonald, and tonight's topic, they love me not. Gonna do some introductions right quick and we'll jump right to it. Ladies first.
Hey, it is Curly from Miami.
Hey everybody, this is Erica from Philadelphia.
Yo, what's going on everybody? This is Rick Brown, aka Biz, still down here, Fort Lauderdale.
And again, I'm Leonard McDonald. Tonight's topic something very special to me because I feel everybody needs to really address this, not only with themselves, but also with their friends, families, and any young ones around. So, they love me not. What's going on here? It seems like most people are walking around with price tags on them, basically. Some people got rollback prices, some people got clearance prices. I mean, seriously, we need to understand that the value that people put on us, we don't have to live up to that. And we can't stand up to that and pretty much say, hey, back up. Don't disrespect me like that instead of just accepting it. Chivalry is not there unless women kill it. But also as men, it's our duty to step up and not let them destroy it because it's our role to do that. So we're going to get into this first off. How do we let people, places, things, and ideas dictate what we're worth? What's up with you, Erica?
All right, I guess I'm first again this week. Okay, how do we let people, places, things, ideas dictate our worth? A lot of it, I think, begins in the family household. You can't expect certain people to, it's hard for people to get a sense of worth of themselves if someone is always speaking negatively about them. So, and it's not even always intentional. Like you have small children and their parents might say something like, you're so lazy, or you're just as smart as, one of your siblings, but you just, are lazy. And those things that you keep hearing over and over and over again, you start to, you take hold of it. And then when you're exposed to something different or someone says something to the contrary, even positive, it's hard to, cut off what you've always heard previously.
All right, another point of view I want to bring in is definitely with single parent homes. A lot of our children are being brought without a dad in the house. And as young ladies, our first man that we should see that would appreciate us is our father. And when we don't have that in a household, we start looking to men or boys as teenagers to bring that us up in us. Instead of our father being home and telling us we're beautiful, we're a prized jewel, we hear from other guys who just want sex. And that's what we go through too.
All right. Dang. I think the nature of this question really points a lot to just identity crisis. The first thing that I could really say, maybe like looking at dudes, I say on the job. And the reason why I say that is because that's one place where I spend the most time out of anything. Yeah, like I spend a lot of time at church as well, and on the street, definitely at Publix, but at the job, you can see how much one person's influence affects somebody else. So when somebody's making fun of somebody, another person will quickly jump on it, and they'll continue maybe focusing on a negative attribute of a person, and because of that, now whoever's being spoken to, if they continue to hear that day in, day out over weeks, more than likely they're gonna conform to it. At the same time though, there's a couple definitely there's a couple different types of personalities. Some people go against the grain, and some people, take what's given to them. I remember one friend that I had when I was growing up. Like we were playing basketball, and he wasn't very good at making jump shots. So I would kind of speak negatively to him, trying to see if it would influence him to do better, and he only did worse. I mean, but that's the opposite of how I think. So if somebody tells me that I can't do something, I'm like rising up like, oh, you gonna get proved wrong today. You about to learn today. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know. I think it can go both ways, but definitely influence, environment, what people say, what people do, what people say you should wear, what people say you should drive, the amount of money you should make. Definitely in society, unless we are broken from that, unless our mind is renewed by some other way, yeah, we will have that end up putting a price tag on us unless we are delivered.
Yeah. I definitely got to go back to what Curly said about the single family household with a single parent. That's something crucial that honestly I hadn't even thought of. When she brought it up, I was like, wow, how did I miss that? That's so obvious. You have one parent dealing with 1, 2, maybe 3 kids all alone. And I know in some cases it's a man who's raising the kids, but in most cases it's a woman. And she finds herself in a position where she now has to wear several different hats. She has to be the mother, she has to be the father, she has to be the teacher, she has to be the doctor. And that can easily become overwhelming where, people see, she got something going for herself, and they approach her, like she said, where they just want sex, or they just, they're not really after anything serious. They're just after what they can get for the moment and move on. So it's really important as a single parent that you take the time to not only be there for your kids, but be there for yourself. And it's just as important to build them up as to build yourself up. Because then you won't fall for those tricks or, someone's throwing you a little compliment here and there. But honestly and truly, you know yourself better than them. If they're telling you, oh, you're pretty, you don't have to be stuck up about it. But at the same time, it shouldn't hit you on a spot where you're like, oh, wow, he says I'm pretty. Come on, if you're pretty, you're pretty. Everybody is unique. Everyone has something special about them. And I think most people forget that. And for me with this question, I think it's commercials. Commercials all over tell you what you need, how to get by, what makes you successful, what makes you beautiful. Oh, if you have a little bit of acne on your face, you better run over here and get this before you get sun big time. I know some people who think, a little bit of bumps is kind of sexy because they're natural, they look real. So we gotta set out the commercials. Okay, they'll have Michael Jordan, they'll have LeBron James. Yo, you want these shoes right here, don't you? You want these J's. These J's about to take you somewhere. Where? They're gonna take you to the same place your kids took you, you know what I'm saying? But then you have kids all over the place, even grown men. Like, oh, you ain't got them J's? Oh, you ain't about nothing. Huh? Whoa, wait a second, because I ain't spent $250 on some J's. Now my stock has dropped. Come on, please. Somebody tell me something. Okay, Curly, I know you're a single parent. How do these commercials, how do they make the kids in your household respond when they see something on TV like, oh, I gotta have that, Mom?
Well, fortunately, my son is not into name brand sneakers, but he's into toys. So let there be any new toy on TV, and I'm gonna hear about it. Any new video game, I'm gonna hear about it. It's like, Mom, I gotta have this. All my friends have it, and that's what I have to hear. And I'm like, so what? As soon as you get, like, for instance, he wants a Nintendo 3DS. I'm like, by the time I buy you this, there'll be a Nintendo 4DS. So, you have to be like, you have to sit with your child and let them know, Things are going to always change, and what's hot today, tomorrow won't be hot. So you have to get that into their brains.
I think it's like we have to train them against that instant gratification. Like, it's just, there's no self-control being taught. It's like, you see it, I want it. There it is, I want that too. Yeah, over that there, give me that too. It's like, there's just no parameters put around them, and I understand, like, as parents, although I'm not one, but I do see, parents, they want to give their children some of the things that they might not have had. You want them to have a little more, you want them to have better than you had, but at the same time, you're giving them almost a sense of entitlement, like, just because I want it, so I should be able to have it when I want it all the time. And there's just you have to set things up for them. It's not a matter of that you can't have these things, but like you were saying, Leonard, your self-value, your value is not at the base of this. Whether you have it or you don't, that's not changing your value at all. I just see it. I do see it with the children, like they do want it all the time. And if you don't curb it, mold them, instruct them on how, on these things, they're just going to be like this as adults. The new hottest car, give me that. 2013, I'm going to get that. 2014, I'm going to trade that in and get the new one. It's just, almost like a never being satisfied with it. Like, you're defined by your toys, and they just going to get bigger and bigger.
One thing that really just jumped into my head was, say in terms of the instant gratification, or what we see on commercials that we want to get and acquire so badly. One question that's, I think, one of the best questions, what stops me a lot of time in my tracks on what I'm doing, is why. What's the why behind your what? So if you're going to get something, ask yourself why. Like, what is this going to lead me to? What am I sacrificing to get it? What's the cost? What's the payoff of getting it? What's the maintenance of it? And a lot of times, if the why has absolutely nothing to do with who you really are, not what the world says you are, or not what the TV says you are. So, for example, Leonard was talking about the Jays. If you go get some new Jordans, okay, why do I need these Jordans? I need these Jordans because they are the new one that comes out. And unless I have the new one, my old ones are worthless. But then what's the purpose of shoes in the first place? It's just to protect your feet. So, everybody's got different styles, but when you really start, if you don't know who you are in the first place, you will fall for anything. I know there are some people who can go and thanks, sorry for saying this, just go buy a pair of Bobos and just roll out with them, and they'll wear them things for 2 years and put their money in other places, but they understand maybe the purpose of shoes, maybe why they're getting them. And this is not to knock anybody with J's. If you want some J's, cool, go ahead and get them, but why are you getting them? If it's just to keep up with the trends or just to keep up with everybody else, all you're doing is continually looking everywhere but in the mirror, or really who you should be mirroring. I'm gonna leave that there.
Yeah, man, I just want to break that stereotype, because a friend of mine, his father actually died recently, but he has a daughter, and he called me up. He wanted me to address this, and I told him it'll fit in this topic right here that we had coming up. But he had a daughter who was getting bullied real bad in school, and that's not even something that's rare. That's something that happens every single day at every single school all across the country, and it all stems from a child thinking that they're better than someone else, and in most cases it's because of what that child doesn't have. And I feel it's really important for us to, you have to start at a young age, because now you have so many people out there who are defined by what they have. They lose it and they're just lost because not only have they lost everything they own, but they lost their identity along with it. So, how do we bring up our kids so that, we say, hey, you're valuable, you're special, but at the same time, you don't want it to go too far where now they think they're better than other kids at school. Because then, yeah, you've given them self-esteem, you've given them something to look forward to. They feel greatness on the inside, but you want them to feel that greatness and then also see it in others. And if another person isn't showcasing, take the time to bring it out of them. So how do we do that?
Wow, that's a hard question. I would say as parents, we do need to teach our children that they are, fearfully and wonderfully made. However, they also need to be humbled. So that's one thing that we do need to teach our children, how to be humble, meek, learning how to not just highly esteem themselves, but to highly esteem other people in their lives. And that's something that goes back to the Bible when Jesus teaches us you should love others as you love yourself. So if you highly think it of yourself, then you should highly think of other people too. And just because someone doesn't have what you have doesn't mean that they don't have something else to offer and that they don't have value. So that's something we need to teach our children as we're teaching them to think highly of themselves.
I'm gonna be a little kid right now. What's in it for me? What's my incentive for taking the time to do that? When I could just go around and just be, popping my collar like, yeah, my mom said I'm all that. You ain't nothing. So what's the incentive? Why should I?
I think some of the incentive would be where parents or guardians or whoever instruct the children that it's not the reason why certain people are in your lives. Like you are there to be a benefit to someone else. Someone's there to be a benefit for you. And it's not just necessarily a materialistic type of thing. I don't want to just be your friend because you got the hot, cool toys. Like Curly was saying, you want to see the benefit of other people, their skills, their talents, their ability, their character. Those are the things that you want to seek out in people and find the good thing in your peers, so that you can appreciate something that they have that you might lack. Someone might be able to give a kind word all the time, just the nicest spirit, always encouraging somebody, just positive all the time. That's a benefit that you will get, associating yourself or linking yourself to someone else, just like you have things to offer someone else. So I think we just need to take the focus off the materialistic aspect all the time and teach our children to look to who the people really are. Look at your character, look at your skills, look at your ability, and be able to praise someone else for what they have.
But I got a car sitting on 30s.
Okay, good for you. Praise the Lord. You got a car sitting on 30s.
But I'm just saying, I hear you.
Yeah, and you be like, you know what, that's what's up. You have your car sitting on 30s, them things are spinning, that's what's up. Yeah, it looks awesome. Snap a picture. You should put it on Facebook. People probably would love to see it.
Yeah, I'm going to get like 2,000 likes.
Okay. And that's what's up. And you should be enthusiastic for the people. You should be able to rejoice when someone else has it. And if you're telling me, hey, you sitting on the bus stop as I'm rolling by, I'm like, I'm in a 50 passenger. How many passengers can you fit in your car? No, I mean, not to be like that, but be like, okay, yeah, I'm on the bus. That's true. I'm not walking though right now, so that's what's up.
Dang. Wish I could help you.
You wish I could help you.
No,
I wish I could help you.
I'm just saying, I did talk to one guy, and his reaction was just like, it ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm doing well. I like things just the way they are. I'm successful. So what do you say then?
All right. I really know where you're coming from on this. Basically, like the same thing in my neighborhood. I look at some of the boys rolling around, and I'm like, all right, like I know where they sell dope. It's like, yeah, because I want money to be able to do X, Y, and Z. And I could say, well, yo, you know, you could go get a job. And they're like, oh yeah, it makes money, but it don't make money like this. You know what I'm saying? I think at the same time, when you try to immediately, when you know where you're coming from is truth, and you try to present it to somebody, immediately they'll look at you like, yeah, but that's not what I've been seeing like the last 10 years. Like all I see is this and this and this, and this seems to be the way that things work. So what you're telling me is foreign. I don't understand that. But as it goes back to really training like the children, the young ones who are growing up, the most I can say is really is a balance. Dang, man, I'm kind of perplexed right now. All right, even in a balance, all right, when you look at everything going on, even if you look at the earth has a balance to it. You got sunshine, you got rain, you got animals that eat other animals so that, you know, the ecosystem can continue to work. It's the same thing in your thinking. You can't think so highly of yourself that you're not thinking of anybody else. As soon as that balance goes out, you're going to face the consequences of it. That's just the way it is. The consequences are never good. The consequences of selfishness and jealousy is going to lead you to a lonely life, which doesn't make any sense for any human being because everybody needs love. You're gonna die without love. I mean, that's just proven, plain and simple. You know, many people who believe in God, don't believe in God, say that over years of time, it's pointless to have 10,000 possessions that you can't even share with somebody. The possessions are worthless. You know what I mean? I think, dang. I was gonna make another point about you know, the boys rolling up with the dope, but I forgot that boy, so I'm gonna let somebody else ride.
Well, basically, at the end of the day, we all need each other. But every single day, almost every single commercial is telling you that all you need is items. They have the Kodak commercial where trip to Paris, 1450, J's 175, all natural fruit, 1325. I mean, you know, they put prices on all these things, and basically, when you see this, it's going on your price tag. So if my price tag is $500, if I go out there and get them J's, I'm now worth $650. If I go out there and get this brand new car, I'm now worth $32,650. You know, so we're all trying to build up this price tag that, in all actuality, we're not even defining it. We think we are, but okay, you got that car, you got this new suit on, you go out there like my man, and I'm gonna get you sucker. Came out of jail, fly, goldfish in the shoes. The man thought he was doing it. That was that price tag he had on himself, but someone else put the value on it. So he didn't really believe in himself. He just believed in what he had on. And when everyone reacted negatively toward him, he felt his value dropping. But why did it drop if he's special?
It's what he thinks is special. If you're thinking the items are special, I mean, trends change, so it's not gonna be the best thing anymore. So I think people need to go back to knowing that your value is found in God and God alone. So no matter what is going on, how things may change later on in life, God will never change. He'll be the same today, tomorrow, and forever. So that's what people need to put their worth in and know who their value comes from.
Yeah, most definitely. I think if anybody know the artist Thistle, that dude is extra on point. But one thing one thing that I heard him say in one of his songs is, when I walk around the hood, I look at everybody and they put their trust and their hope and their value in substances that are perishable. When you do that, your value is going to die right along with the value of those things. So like you just said, if you put your substance or your worth in a trend, as soon as that trends go out, your worth goes out, and that's that. And you're going to try and keep up, you know what I'm saying, to keep your self-worth up the whole time, but it just doesn't look like that. And just like you said, Curly, the one who has been, the one who is, and the one who ever and forever will be, who created the earth, who told men what to put value on, like he was the one who made gold. Come on, man. Like how you gonna have a higher price than what he said? You know, if he says you're precious and you're priceless, and that's the highest you can go, then whatever man has set up that they say, oh, like this is priceless. Nah, you don't know, man. You ain't got the revelation of what real pricelessness is. Of definitely some blood that we can't even pay for. Now that's priceless.
Hallelujah.
True.
All right. Basically, my point that I really want to drive home here is everyone's chasing a dollar, but the dollar is dropping in price every single day. A dollar isn't worth a dollar anymore. What the value of the dollar is today will drop again tomorrow. You know, when someone goes into an interview, what happens? They're being assessed. Okay, let's say you go to McDonald's, minimum wage. To that person interviewing you, you have to prove to them that you're worth minimum wage. I mean, real talk.
Yeah.
So when you get that job, because everyone, okay, we gotta work. You don't work, you don't eat. That's what the Bible said. So we gotta work. We got bills, we got things to take care of. So, well, I'm not saying don't go get a job because they don't value you. What I'm saying is, if you're gonna take that minimum wage job and now you don't work hard and you get fired, that means to them you weren't even worth minimum wage. But that's not even your true value. You just didn't put forth the effort. But if you're up in there every single day, you on time, you getting your work done, you sitting there showing your true value, they're gonna either give you a raise or somebody gonna see you acting up, and they're gonna probably give you an opportunity. I've seen it happen before where someone's just showing out at their job and they get an opportunity somewhere else. That just happened recently where I work at. I work in different stores for Frito-Lay, and one guy at one store got approached by he has a job now with another vendor, making more than he was making at that store because they saw him going above and beyond. They're like, hey, we gotta get this guy. So now he works for them, making more money, about $6 more than he was making before, all because he didn't say, it's paying me this little $9.50 an hour. Well, I work hard for them. You're not working hard for them. You're working hard for yourself because everybody is watching you, and you're not going to let them be satisfied with saying that dude is worth $9.50.
I definitely got to say this because this is something that I'm standing on right now in terms of working for yourself, but definitely in terms of working for God, man. Like, when you know who he is, and you know the standard that he expects to come out, and the word of God says, whether in word or deed, do all your work as unto the Lord. I mean, like, so if God was sitting there watching you do your Frito-Lay job and put some stuff on the shelf, if you could really say, like, all right, Lord, would you be pleased with this, or can I throw them anyway on the shelf? And I think that's straight, and then, and matter of fact, bump everybody else. I'm about to leave 30 minutes early. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that really acceptable? But that's if you know who he is, or you got that revelation. But even still, I mean, there's some people who don't know Jesus and have a great work ethic. Wonder why?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's not that you don't have values, you don't know Jesus, but you don't know your true value. Because it's all going to be dictated by someone else. You need to first find your true value within yourself by getting to know yourself. As you get to know yourself, you'll start seeing people fade away. You'll start seeing things fade away because they don't know themselves. So now that you know yourself and you're starting to find true value in yourself, you don't vibe with them because they think you too good. Now, they're still out doing things, or let's say, okay, we'll go to some females. You got a lot of fast females out there that don't really value themselves. You know, they basically have taken the role that men had a few years ago of just being out there, being scandalous, you know, sleeping with everything out there. And most dudes don't even have to work for it anymore. They just got to chill in one spot. You know, they just sit there for a minute, they're going to get approached. Someone's going to approach them, they're going to be like, hey, you know, what's going on with you tonight? And they ain't even have to open their mouth. So when you do something like that, it's like, come on, you know, wait a second. Let's think for a second. Number one, if you can get this dude like that, what's his worth? You know, if he ain't really thinking about what's going on with you and he's just ready to ride with you, what's going on with him? What's his value? But some women still find comfort in that man. Or I'll say that guy, because a man is very different than a guy. But that guy now gives them some comfort that maybe they didn't receive at home, or maybe they didn't receive from their loved ones, or maybe they were abused. And so that's something that just feels right. That's a comfort zone for them for a moment. Then they're back to sitting down. So when you have this person that doesn't believe, how do you show them their value when they don't even believe in God?
That's a good one. I think to show someone their value, even if they don't know God personally, there's just some things that you can still show them. Just as being, like you were making reference to the women who would just put it out there for anybody that just seems to be coming along, without necessarily, how can I put this? Without necessarily having to, try and show them, instruct them on the ways of God, since they don't understand that per se. You can just show in just some natural ways that it's just not the way to go, because like you said earlier, Curly, like sometimes there's a lack of fathers in the household that didn't necessarily set the tone ahead of time while they were young to show them exactly their worth. You don't necessarily have to say, and God said, you don't have to do it that way, but you can just, like I know our pastor, he's starting at a young age with his daughter at a young age, showing her how a man is supposed to treat her. He will take her out on dates. They'll go and do something, just spend some quality time together, so that when in years later some fool can't come up to her and just say any old type of thing, and she's gonna bat her eyes and go walking off into the sunset with him. You can just instruct them that you have to teach them now while they're young to be able to carry themselves in a manner that's pleasing and not so available. Like, just don't be so available. I don't have anything else to say.
Okay. All right. One thing as you were speaking that really came up is, all right, for a Christian, when we look at God's word, in the Greek, it's the word logos. That's where we get our English word logic from. Men are very logical, just that's our makeup. But when you're looking at things, even if I'm not quoting some scripture for scripture, if I tell somebody a word like, For example, what everybody claims the golden rule is, treat somebody else like you want to be treated. All right, well, Jesus said that. You know what I'm saying? So even if I just said that to you, now if I'm putting it as logos or in a logical statement, that's something you can pick up. But even still, they're getting word when you're saying that. Faith comes by hearing, hearing by the word of God. Doesn't mean I gotta be up on a soapbox and you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, it doesn't need to be all that. And I'm really not like in terms of I want to say like evangelism principles. Like, I'm not looking to baseball bat somebody over the head with the King James. You know, like, not everybody is in that position and ready to accept Jesus. Some people sow seeds. So, hey, you know, if I can share a kind word with you that lines up with scripture, you know, if that's what you need, that's what you're gonna get. You know, and I don't know. A lot of times I really don't think to take it all that deep. Like, you know, you gotta pull them in the parking lot and baptize them right there. Dude, you know, I give you the word, give it to you in a clear, concise manner, and do that.
Going back to when we talk about the young ladies, I'm a teacher, so I work with teenage young ladies, and they come in. Don't let it be a dress down. They want to come in with the little mini skirt, got real tight pants, or the little shirts almost showing all their boobs. So I have to always pull them to the side and say, why are you wearing this? Are you trying to get attention from the boys?
But Nicki Minaj does it.
Or emulating Nicki Minaj or their favorite rap singer or whoever at the time. But then you'll talk to them and it's like, you don't have to do all that. You know, as I say, I always tell them, keep the cookies in the jar, pull up that shirt. Nobody needs to see all your business. I always tell them, boys are visuals, so they'll see things, and it may not be what you want them to see. So I was telling them, you know, you got to remember that your value is you. I mean, no matter what you have on, if a boy likes you, he likes you because of who you are. He shouldn't have to like you because of what you have on or lack thereof.
How old are your students?
Range from 12 to 15.
Do they even know who they are yet?
I teach at grade level where you're right in the middle, 7th grade. That's when you're learning your identity.
So if they're approached by a boy who likes them, how does he know who they are? They don't even know who they are. I'm just curious. I'm just asking a question.
Man, the boy knows who the girl are by how they present themselves.
Oh,
I read the label. This is what the label says. The label says you will do X, Y, and Z. I think one thing, if Chris Rock had a stand-up a while ago, I forgot which one it was, but the woman dressed scantily in the store was approaching a certain manner, and she was like, oh no, you know, I'm not X, Y, and Z. But with Chris Rock walk in the store dressed as a cop, and somebody's like, hey, are you an officer? What? You see me dressed like this, you think I'm a cop? Hey man,
false advertisement.
Yes. Ooh, bait and switch.
I'm asking these questions because I mean I'm sorry to put you on the spot. I know you're a teacher, you know, you have certain limitations on you, but like, how do you approach these girls when they come in there? Like, how far can you get into it without getting in trouble because the school board's like, yo, don't be speaking no positive stuff to them like that. Don't make them think they worth all of that. True. What's going on?
I mean, I just pull them to the side and say, you know, I make it funny. I'm like, keep your cookies in your jar, and they kind of know what that means. Pull your little blouse up. Or I'll be like, girl, where you going with these little tight pants? Oh, you can't make any fist in your pants. Or where you going with this little short skirt? You're not on the cheerleading team. So I kind of make it funny and comical, but they get it, and next time they usually have their little camisole on or something.
Right, I mean, like you said, they are kind of young, but I want to move into this whole relationship aspect of everything. So what causes people to increase and decrease the value of their relationships with others?
When you don't have that value on yourself, then how can you value someone else in another relationship? You gotta have it first for yourself.
But how many people understand that? What about the people that find value for themselves and others?
Yeah, but how long is that value gonna last?
As long
before it
as I
starts
keep upping my
dissipating?
price tag.
And when you can't live up to that price tag anymore, you'll be gone again. You'll be gone.
The value of somebody else in a relationship. I think just by, I don't know, we live down here, you know, Miami, Lauderdale, South Florida. So basically, I think a lot of reality TV is what we see in the streets, which
Oh no, you gotta do the street voice for this one.
for the streets. Yeah. On some serious though, it's like I think, well, for how I think, education is just about everything. You know, that's my perspective on it. And how we're being taught day in and day out, by watching certain things, by listening to certain things, like, which was basically one of the questions you asked at the very beginning. We allow those things to set up, like, hey, this is you and this is a woman, so you do this, the woman does that, and that's a relationship. And divorce is normal, and Hollywood breakups are normal, and that's how everybody's marriage should go. Have a nice life, basically. But you know,
I mean, it's not like that for real.
I mean, hey, I know some people 50 years deep, 60 years deep.
But it's on Wikipedia.
What? What's on Wikipedia?
No, I'm just clowning.
Oh, okay. Play too much.
I would just say that I guess the value and the devalue of their relationships usually comes from people thinking, what can the other person do for me in a relationship? And that's where they really go wrong. It's not, you know, Leonard, what can you do for me in this friendship? What you just,
Oh, we friends?
yeah, you know, if we were, you would want to say, you know, let's say we're friends, Leonard. And you know, if I'm just looking to what you can do for me in this relationship, in this friendship, and it's like, okay, as soon as you stop doing something, or you no longer have the capabilities, or you decide that you're just not going to do something, then it's like, boo, next. You know, people just don't. I think that's how they value their relationships, friendships, dating relationships, anything. Is usually like what can you do to benefit me? How can you make me feel good? How can you, you know, what's in it for me? And never, you know, what is it that I can do to bless the other person, to be a benefit to the other person? What do I bring to complement this other person?
What do you get out of that? I'm sorry, man. Leonard got me thinking like him. With the counter questions, yeah. But what's in it for me?
But that's the point. That's what everybody's thinking about. What's in it for me? What's in it for me? Like, whatever attracted you to this person, or whatever brought these two people together in friendship in the first place, you know, say something occurs and that thing is no longer there. That's when they run for the hills. That's when you see your Hollywood divorces, your divorce rate. You know, okay, this person brought to the table their $100,000 job, and then, you know, we're like, okay, that's what I want. I want a relationship where, you know, I'm financially sound, and as soon as that financially soundness goes out the window, or even decreases in any manner, then, you know, you're already looking at the next field over there, seeing that the grass is a little bit greener. Let me cut you loose and move on to the next.
Still gotta mow that grass too.
I mean, yeah, yes, we know that. But I mean, that's what people are thinking of. They're thinking in the now. They're thinking in the right now, in this particular moment. What's in it for me? what can you do for me? If you can't do anything for me, then see you later.
So a lot of people approach relationships like connections.
Yes.
This relationship will
Networking.
get me to this position. It's a networking
It's
ship.
a lot of people look at it as a networking thing, and I think that's where part of the downfall goes, and the destruction in a lot of relationships, because they're not founded, they don't have a secure foundation to begin with. So, the soon as the wind blows, or you see a hurricane wind or a wave come up, people run for the hills.
Well, actually for me, I have a really close friend. She said, no, not you, Erica. I might need to take a break on that one. But she said that I pretty much dictated her relationships from the time when she was young, because the way I treated her. So whenever dudes would treat her any kind of way, she never accepted it. And I thought that was weird, because like we were always just really good friends. It wasn't like, oh, we're together or we're trying to get to this place. We were just good friends. But because of the way that I treated her, the respect I gave her, it was a true, genuine friendship where it was like, I'm not trying to get anything from you. You're not trying to get anything from me. I'm just trying to be there when you need me, and vice versa. So then as she grew older and she would get into relationships, that was the one thing that was constant to her. Like, oh, Leonard didn't do me like that, so you gotta go. Leonard wouldn't have said that to me, so you gotta go. So don't give me that look. Whatever, Erica. I love you.
Love you too.
Yeah.
Don't have to repent for that lie later. But seriously, I believe relationships are strongest when they start as friendships. Because when you're a friend with someone, a real true friend, you don't care what's going on with them. It in the sense of, oh, I can't deal with you because of this. Just, I'm your friend. You can talk to me about anything. It's whatever. I have respect for you. You have respect for me. That's pretty much the foundation of the relationship.
I think it also plays in part, like I believe it was Curly that said in the very beginning, your friend said, Leonard didn't treat me like this. Leonard never did this. He never raised his voice at me, but it shouldn't have even come. I'm not saying it shouldn't have come from you, but the very foundation should have been from her father. So then her relationship with you, it wouldn't have been anything out of the ordinary. That would have been a general expectation, hands down. Like for me, praise the Lord, my father was in the household and helped raise me. And I see now a lot of how he treated me is how I expect to be treated. My father wasn't a person to raise his voice or to yell or to snap or any of that kind of stuff. Was I disciplined? Yes. But, but it was just the way that he would always speak to me patiently, gently, those are things that really resonate with me. So anytime someone tried to come to me with some foolishness, and the second that his voice would start to escalate, I'm gonna be honest, I'd be like, okay, you need to watch the tone of your voice. You need to take it down a little bit, because that is just not what I'm used to, and that's not what I'm gonna tolerate. Now, if I had a father figure who was screaming at the top of his lungs and like, like that,
Do that again?
things like that, that's what, as a young woman, that's something that I probably would have been used to. And if somebody was to come into my life, friend, or even to a point of dating relationship, that's something that I would probably expect. Like, it would just be a normal type of thing. I wouldn't know that's not how it's, that other people don't necessarily do that. So I mean, like, kudos that you are that type of friend to her and has set the tone for her in other relationships. But I just really think it's a call to action that the men really, be there. You have to be there. You have to instruct and show, and not just tell, your daughters, your nieces, your, whoever, this is the type of man that you should be looking for. This is how you're supposed to be treated. You have to actually show them and do it in action.
I agree with Erica. I was also fortunate to grow up with my father in the household. My parents were married for like 34 years. So I also see what kind of husband I want based on how my father was with me. My father is also very patient, very hardworking man, took care of his family. My mama didn't have to work. He made sure he took care of all our needs as children. And it was 4 young ladies, or 5, including my mom, in the household. So, you know, kudos to my daddy for dealing with 5 women in the house. But again, it's just like Erica said, you need that father in the house. When you have 2 parents in the house, children, not just having 2 parents in the house, but parents who are knowing their roles as parents, as a mom and a father, a husband and wife, and the children grow up and they get to see what that is like, how to be a husband, how to be a wife, or vice versa, how a wife should treat her husband or a husband should treat their wife. And they learn how to do that and value relationships.
What about, okay, because this happened to me. I was talking to someone on Twitter, and she said to me, or the question was posed and I responded to it, is can a mother teach her son masculinity?
No.
What?
I'm sorry. I cannot, as much as I can try to tell my son, put some bass in your voice, tighten up, stop that whining and stuff like that. I'm not a man. I can't teach him how to be a man if I'm not a man. I'm sorry, I can't. That's why I try to make sure, although his father is in his life, he has to have, make sure he has like male role models around to teach him things that I can't teach him. Biz, you got something to say?
Well, I gotta have something to say. Dang. You know what? Well, gosh. All right, I think I'm having a hard time because I see it a lot of times where we've heard before, like as men are coming up, especially when they get into those latter years, like not latter, but in terms of their growing, like, you know, once men usually hit around late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, by then they usually, even if they don't have a full identity of who they are, they have a sense of where they're going and what they want to do. I can't say for, you know, all the time in the case, but you know, if you've been playing video games for 14 years, that's mostly what you see yourself doing. No, it's not saying good, bad, or indifferent, but that's just what it is.
I play video games.
That's why I don't be at your house. Anyway, but like one thing I can see is the mother has this instinct to nurture the man, but she might end up doing it when dude is like in his 30s and stuff, and by that you're not even helping him to be a man anymore, you're actually hindering him. Like, that dude need to go out there, you need to be broken. Even if you fall for a little bit, you're gonna learn. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna learn, especially when there are other men around to teach you. But and that's one thing I know the mother does not want to see. She doesn't want to see her baby fall. She doesn't want to see her baby get hurt. But you know what? There are just certain things that men gonna have to go through in order to be men. You know, it just comes with the territory. But and I think it's very, very sad, and I'm really hurt a lot of times when women have the mentality, especially a lot of single mothers, that they can handle that role. It's just, dude, it's just not the case. You can't be a father any more than I could be a mother. Plain and simple, you know, it's not anything taking credit away from you, giving provision to the child, or raising them or teaching them, you know, the right things to do. But there's a certain time that comes where you just can't do it as a woman. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, there's nothing bad. It's just something that needs to be recognized. When you really recognize the truth and you see the whole of the situation, you're really gonna take yourself out rather than holding your own selfishness about what you want to do with your child, rather than what is supposed to be done. Yeah, I'm done.
Well, pretty much, excuse me, this is an issue all the way across the board. When kids, teenagers, young adults, maybe even singers, everyone has an issue with values being placed on them and their worth, because we're always told what our worth is. But it's always in a negative form. The commercials tell us we need this because we don't have it. So since we don't have it, we aren't worth anything. But it all starts with our kids. If our kids aren't being taught the right way, if they aren't being raised the correct way, you're basically waiting on someone else to teach that child. And you have no idea what lessons are going to be imparted on them. They could teach them one thing that has them going so far left field that they never come back. So it's really important that everyone steps up and tries to play a role in some child's life. You may have younger siblings, you may have younger cousins, you may have a next door neighbor. Take the time out and just say, hey, ask them how they're doing, what's going on, how was their day, and find some positivity to pour into them, and also make sure it sinks in so that when someone steps in the wrong way, it's not something that they just accept like it's normal.
Yeah, one thing I want to say right when you're in there is even mid-20s, early 20s, 30s, a lot of us who grew up in the 90s or who grew up in the 80s, a lot of people look at the generation that's coming up right now, look at the music they're listening to, and they're like, man, what the heck are they doing? But one thing I can say is we cannot utter a word if we have not placed anything into them. You can't sit there and talk about the next generation if we ain't poured nothing into them. If we haven't at least, or if you ain't pouring nothing into them, find somebody who is and help them pour something into them. But, unless we take our stand and we're like, nah, the next generation isn't going to be wild, rebellious, and stupid. They're going to be smart, successful, and prominent because we say so and because we're going to help them to be that. But if we haven't done that, everybody needs to shut up.
That's true.
I'm off my soapbox.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. That's a really important point you just made there. Even though it starts with kids, a lot of people aren't kids anymore. You got some young adults now.
Still kids. 50-year-old kids.
I mean, that's an issue, and I see this a lot, where you have a child that's trying to become an adult so badly that when they're an adult, they're still a child because they never learned how to be an adult. So they're an adult walking around on the outside, but a child on the inside, and they're thinking that they're an adult. And they're raising other children to be children, and then to be grown children, and then to be grandparent children. And so it's just a vicious cycle, actually, that we really need to break. But just try to go out there and pour some words of positivity into some people that you come across. And